So what is college, right? Everyone's daughter gets piped down for quickly. Outside of that, what also occurs is you'll get fucking basically bad habits. Everyone that becomes an alcoholic or gets addicted to pot, typically it happens in college, right? It's a big fuck fest of degeneracy. I don't need that bullshit. Like my brother went to community college for a short period of time just because my parents also weren't going to pull the money out to start paying for us to go to college, and I damn sure wasn't going to go into debt for it. Absolutely not. And I know people that are studying business, and I'll ask them like, hey, do you know how to read a profit and loss? Do you know how to create a P&L? Do you know how to read a balance sheet? Do you know how to create a balance sheet? Do you know what net operating income is? Do you know what EBITDA is? Like, you just ask them the most basic business terminology that they should know. Like, they don't know shit. So at the end of the day, what are you there for? If your business professor was so fucking good at business, he probably wouldn't be standing there giving you a seminar on how to run a business when he doesn't have one. He doesn't have one. That's why he's collecting 60 grand a year, 80 grand a year from the school.
Because he's not actually making money.
Why am I going to go learn from people that don't have what I want? Why am I going to learn from people that are not even qualified to teach, in my opinion?
My name is Deep. I'm the host of It's Not That Deep. Now, before we jump into this episode, which you're not going to want to miss at all, I want to take a second to tell you my story a little bit. So after graduating college, I worked for the federal government of Canada. Not only that, I worked in the pensions department. I know, super exciting stuff, right? Now, I was the king of water cooler talk, super long breaks, and staring at the clock waiting for my shift to end. That was my life, and I absolutely hated it. The whole time I kept asking myself, is this it? Isn't there something bigger, something out there that I actually truly care about doing? So eventually, after a ton of internal debate and quite frankly, a lot of friends gassing me up to start some kind of show, I decided to launch It's Not That Deep. Now that was back in 2019. The whole premise of the show was to connect with people who I find interesting and to learn how they are realizing their potential in whatever domain. Now, I also wanted to have some kind of show where I could document my journey, something where, you know, if I have kids or grandkids one day and they ask, you know, what I was doing at 26, 27, I tell them, go to YouTube, check it out. So that single decision flipped my life upside down because it led me to meeting a bunch of incredible entrepreneurs, CEOs, athletes, artists, and everything in between. From there, connecting with the right people led me to starting my own media company. And that's when I met my current business partner, Jamie Lee, through this podcast. So then in 2021, we launched Deep Social Brands. Fast forward to now, we've done over $2.5 million in sales. We've traveled the world, moved countries, built teams, built incredible relationships, and we've gotten to film content all around the world. Like right now, I'm in Panama. We're filming content with one of our clients. And the crazy part is I don't even have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube yet. But none of those vanity metrics or anything like that actually truly matter, because putting out content changed my life. I'm telling you, if you just commit to hitting publish, I guarantee it'll change your life in ways that you can't even fathom. And that's why Jamie and I decided to launch putoutcontent.com to help you realize your potential through putting out content. And no, don't worry, it's not just another agency. So if you are serious about growing online, connecting with people around the world, and living the life of your dreams, and if you're tired about guessing what to post, what the strategy should be, how to get your videos edited, how to even film them, or just generally how to put out content, head over to putoutcontent.com. You'll thank me later. But for now, let's get to this episode of It's Not That Deep. Welcome to another episode of It's Not That Deep. Today, I'm sitting down with a young legend in the game, someone who's not just talking about entrepreneurship, but actually living it. I'm talking today to Luke Del Priori. I said that right?
Yeah.
Okay. At just age 20, Luke, along with his brother Dario, built Priori Hospitality. It's a powerhouse marketing agency that's helped well over 100 wedding venues across the U.S. generate millions in booked events. And the wildest part, just a few years ago, they were running around just shooting content, trying to figure out how to make this whole thing work. Just like me. And that's like, I relate with this so heavy because, you know, Luke came up on some of the same mentorship and education. I can't wait to dive into that. We both took Iman Gaji's programs and benefited tremendously from it. But what I love about Luke and his brother is what they built is something different. It's a real business rooted in client results, a real culture, and relentless execution. You know what they say, age is just a number. Luke,
Sir,
my brother, welcome to the podcast, my man.
thanks for having me, bro. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this and peel back the curtain on some of these, I guess, these agency myths, and hopefully on some of these coaches too. Because I don't mean to start on a negative foot, but I think a lot of the coaches in the game are complete bullshit artists, to be honest with you, because they say, "Oh, get into crypto or trade or do this or do that." They don't do it. So that's why my whole mission is we run an active company. And just want to show people what it's like running a real business. That's the goal.
Bro, that's so true. I mean, there's such a culture right now of all these coaches and gurus who are just trying to show people the ropes of how to do it, but they're not actually doing it themselves. And,
Yep.
the whole trope of people, making a bunch of money selling courses, but not actually doing the damn thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's a symptom of a deeper problem with the agency space. And like, this, you probably have to deal with this objection all the time, but people have been burned by agencies before, right? You come in and you're dealing with a client who's got almost agency trauma, right? Like you're kind of working through like, hey, look, I know
Right.
all these people might have screwed you over in the past, but here's why we're different. So, talk to me about what made you and your brother even get into this game in the first place.
Yeah. So, I mean, me and my brother, or my brother and I, we graduated. Well, I didn't even graduate high school. I actually dropped out my senior year. I was like right there, about to finish, but I ended up dropping out like a couple weeks into school because I'd stopped playing baseball and I didn't see any benefit to finishing out because I was done. I was like, I'm not going to be pursuing a higher education. I just want to work. So long story short, I picked up two jobs at the same time. One of them was at a breakfast restaurant local to me here in New Jersey. And the second job was actually at an ice cream store. And I would work 8 hours at the breakfast shop, and then I would go work another 4 at the ice cream store. It's Ryan's in Red Bank, New Jersey, and the Skillet in Freehold, New Jersey. So my employment record is there. So if people, oh, it's not true. Well, I have documentation of everything. So I would go work 12 hours a day as much as I could, saved a couple $1,000s. And it's funny because, we're on a podcast and I'm not used to being on the other side because I used to have a podcast myself. It was called the LDP podcast. It grew a TikTok page to like 250,000 followers. It was blowing up. And the problem was I was making literally no money. So I wasn't making any money for having guests on. I was just interviewing girls, fucking grilling them, and then just like hoping I would blow up. I blew up, but I didn't blow up for the right things, at least in hindsight, right? So I was like, yo, let's just combine this money that we've saved from work. And instead of us making podcasts for now, because we need to make money through a business, let's go out and let's start selling content to local businesses. So let's start charging car dealerships and restaurants and solar companies, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month to take over their social media. We'll come in, we'll take their pictures, we'll take their videos, we'll edit everything together and we'll post it for them. And I think that's something that a local business would want. That was our thesis. And that was the first business we actually had success in. But before that, bro, I've tried everything. Day trading, drop shipping. I was in all those Forex signals chats, bunch of crap. I was trying e-commerce for a short period of time. I have that documented too. I tried basically everything. And then I basically settled on agency because for me, it literally just made the most sense. I'm like, who has money? Business owners have money. Content is important, right? Especially short form. So if they need content, I'll be the one that goes in there with a camera, shoots the video, edits it together, posts it, and I'll collect a fee. That made sense. And it also felt achievable because it was in my local market. The idea of trying to drop ship a product from China into another region and then make money that way, it felt too far out of reach for me as an absolute dead broke beginner. So I settled on agency and here we are. I then pivoted my model into a more digitally based model. That's a long story, but that's how I got into the wedding industry. And now I specifically work with different venues and I'm in hospitality. And yeah, right now over 150 active clients. We're a multi-million-dollar agency. And it's been quite the journey to actually getting here. But it started with local content. That was my first bit of success. Once I knew I could succeed in the agency space, I pivoted and I went for a more scalable model. So it's my story.
What I really appreciate about your story there is just how much you're open to pivoting. When you try something, it doesn't work. All right, let's try something else. Let's go this other direction.
Yeah.
But it seemed like what remained true throughout all that is like, hey, look, I'm not going to marry my identity to just one thing.
Yeah, no.
Whether it be drop shipping or e-commerce, like whatever, all types of different businesses that you tried out. It's really cool how you landed on the agency thing because it's the one that felt the most right. But this is still just one iteration of many iterations in your journey. I mean, look, you're only 20. And so, okay, talk to me about this one thing. You and your brother.
Mhm.
So a lot of people talk about, don't work with family. It's like it's the worst thing. It's a big
Sure.
risk. And look, I work with my brother as well, so I'm very, very interested in this.
Uh-huh.
Um, how does that come about, and how do you guys gel together?
It comes about perfectly for me. So I got very lucky that I'm only a year and a half apart from my brother. So I'm 20 and my brother is 21. But I'm lucky in the sense he's about to be 22 on the 25th. But I'm lucky in the sense that a lot of people have a brother and they don't even have common interest, right? A lot of people have a brother and they don't have the same mission or values or purpose. So with that, I'll say, yeah, I'm definitely lucky that I was born with someone that has a similar mindset and doesn't want to fucking do drugs and alcohol 24/7 and doesn't want to go get lit every day. Like, we have goals, we have a mission, we have values, we have a purpose. So I got very lucky having a brother like my brother. And what I'll say is this: the whole idea of don't mix business with family, these are people that typically can't get along as is. Because if you can't trust your family and your blood when it comes down to money, like, who are you really going to trust? So the way that my brother and I divvied this up was this: when we switched when we were doing content, the way it worked is I said, yo, you learn the camera, right? And he already had the skill of using the camera from the podcast. I'm going to learn sales. So I'll learn how to go out there and get us clients. So I was going and knocking every door, shaking every hand, sitting down with business owners as much as I could. I was really the one selling and he was the one fulfilling. And that's what's been allowing us to scale and basically, not to be cocky or arrogant, but I feel like anything that we touch turns to gold because we have synergy where I'm the one responsible for generating cash flow and he's the one responsible for making sure that clients have a fantastic experience. So at this point, I've built out our sales team, which is over 10 guys actively. We have about 8 guys on the phone, appointment setting, 3 guys closing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then my brother runs a service delivery department. We have a team of about 12 to 15 guys that work overseas. So we're over a 30-person operation right now in the agency that we're running, but it wouldn't have happened if I didn't have my brother. So this idea of don't mix family with business, I've never agreed with it. I've really never agreed with it. I don't know who popularized that shit, but I think it's the dumbest thing ever, to be honest with you.
I couldn't agree more, bro. Look, the thing is, when it comes to working with family, can it not work? Sure, but just as much as any type of business partnership cannot work out, right? And the same in the same vein, if you guys have that synergy, you drive on the same road, you have the same mentality, it actually can work out a lot better because who's gonna have more skin in the game than your own family, right? But I will say I have experienced the flip side of that, right? I've worked with other family, and I won't dive into that too much, but and things haven't worked out. And so again, I don't assign that to it being family. I just assign it to me, hey, sometimes things
Didn't
don't
work
work
out.
out.
Didn't work out. Could have been a friend, could have been a family member, didn't work out. Totally.
100%. So you guys kind of really, really got into this during the quarantine, during the lockdown era. Talk to me about that. What was like the real turning point for you guys?
I was bored, bro. I was just home. I was living with my parents at the time. Now, obviously, I'm moved out because we have the business and whatnot. But I was just bored. We were looking into ways to make money online, and we were like, "Yo, there's literally nothing to do. Like, we're gonna sit here and watch TV all day. Like, what am I gonna do?" No one was leaving their house, so I was like, "We might as well start doing some research." At that time, that's when I was actually figuring out about like day trading and things. That's where I started getting acclimated to entrepreneurship as a whole. And I was like, like there might be something here. There might be a better way to make money here than, maybe a traditional job. But I wasn't running an agency at that time. I hadn't even started the agency at that time. The agency actually started in 2022, but all the ideas were like starting to kick off over quarantine. That's when I tried the drop shipping store. That's when I tried joining like signals chats for day trading. At that time too, I was still playing baseball. Right. I'm previously an athlete. I was a baseball player. It's actually pretty good. Had some offers to go to school for college, but extended education just wasn't for me. But yeah, over quarantine, that's when me and my brother really, what I'll say is that was the time that we really got close. My brother and I have always been friendly, but we were never like tight. Like now, like we do everything together, everything. So if I'm out, it's almost like a joke around here. Like, oh, it's Luke and Dara. It's Luke and Dara. It is. We're always together. We pretty much do fucking everything together. But that harvested over quarantine. That's when we got really close, and we really launched our company in 22. And now we're in 25 and doing well day by day. But yeah, quarantine's when everything kind of started as far as like the bond goes.
I gotta say, man, you and your brother remind me a lot about me and my business partner Jamie, and it's kind of crazy how you bring this up because it's like we got started in 2021 kind of accidentally,
Yeah.
right? And you know, I won't dive too much into that story, but you know, the spark notes of it all is that I had this little podcast, so just like you had this podcast, and it wasn't like a money generating thing. I was literally just doing it to meet dope people. Like I've had some very cool people on the show, and I'm like, you know what? There's no downside to me connecting with people and whatnot. No. And it was kind of actually helping me become a better communicator, even grow and expand my network and my skill sets. But I was working a 9-to-5 job at the time, bro. So if you can imagine, I was working for the federal government of Canada. I'm Canadian for context. So I was working up in Canada and I had this soul sucking 9-to-5. I had the podcast. I had some big guests on and whatever. And then I ended up meeting my business partner, and this guy's like a genius with content and with a camera and the fulfillment side.
Yep.
And I remember talking to him and I'm like, bro, like you're really good at this. And this is like 2020, 2021.
Yep.
When TikTok is big, but it's not like popping the way it kind of has been the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you could sell this as like a service. Like, you know that, right? You could be like a TikTok consultant or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, bro. Like, I don't know how to like get clients and stuff. Like, that's not really my thing. But I'm like, I know how to get clients. Like, I know how to sell. So that was kind of that two-headed monster. So I could totally relate with that. And I love that when two founders have complementary skill sets.
Yeah,
right?
bro. Yeah.
You don't want both of you to be good at the same thing, because that's when you will butt heads, right? So
100%. 100%. You need synergy. 100%.
You need synergy. You need to kind of work together and to kind of fill each other's gaps, right? I'm sure you could learn how to pick up a camera and do what you need to do there, but is it where your best skill set is? Maybe not. Maybe you're a lot better at knocking on the doors, and maybe your brother's a lot better with the camera. I don't know you guys that well, but what I do know is that obviously you don't build a 30-man operation and do millions in sales if you don't kind of focus on what you're best at and staying in your lane.
Right. You're 100% right. Absolutely. The biggest bottleneck in a business typically is yourself, right? So if you have two people that know the same thing, two guys that are excellent at sales, you might be able to sell, but what are you fulfilling? Like, so one of you guys has to go on there and then learn the tech side. So that was beautiful. My brother, had a background in music. He was a musician. He actually sang like the national anthem for the Red Sox. Like he was a pretty good musician. Yeah, he was on like the trial phase for The Voice. He was like right about to be on the show. So he had a decent sized music career. He had a lot of.
Do a podcast with him as well.
Yeah, a lot of followers on Instagram, all that good stuff. He was going to try to be here today, but he's busy. He's actually he's working on the agency today, so he's a little too busy.
I get it, bro. I understand the game.
Yeah, so I'm over here doing this, but yeah, no, he had that background in music, and he was very technical because of that. So he'd been like using audio soundboard shit that I don't understand, but at the end of the day, he understood it because he'd mixed and mastered music. So when it came down to learning different software to run our business, it was easy for him. It was nothing. And for me, having interviewed a ton of people with the podcast, I wasn't shy to talk to a random person or approach someone or go, knock a door to have a conversation. That never bothered me, but maybe that was something that he wasn't super comfortable with. So it worked perfectly. We really had synergy in that way where it's like, hey, I'm going to come with the cash and the revenue. I'm going to go get us customers and you're going to make sure they stay. You put those two things together. If everyone does their job and works hard, you're going to make money. You're bound to make money. So that's, if someone is looking to start an agency, hypothetically, that's watching this, and you could get started with a partner with an opposing skill, money. Plus the accountability factor. I think about it some days too, and it's like, I don't wake up every day and I want to work. I don't wake up every day excited, like, yes, I get to, go talk to another business owner today, or I have to, do my sales training with the guys today. But I have someone that keeps me accountable that I also keep accountable. I make sure he's doing his part and he makes sure I'm doing my part, and vice versa. And the team now too, they make sure I'm doing my part too, but it's the accountability factor. If you have a brother and if you have someone you could work with that opposing skill and that synergy in that regard, You can't beat that. You can't.
Bro, and there's something to be said as well of building with somebody than just building alone. I see
Yeah.
a lot of, I know a lot of people who are very successful on their own, you know, but it kind of reminds me of that quote, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And, you know, there's something about when, as you know, there's challenges, bro. There's lows. There's horrible moments in the agency. Sometimes you don't know how you're gonna pay staff, or something's gonna happen, or you lose a bunch of clients at once, and you're like, "Oh man, the world's ending."
Yeah.
We've been there, you know, many times as an agency ourselves, and you know what? Having that partner, having that person who's on, like, going through it with you, in the trenches with you,
Oh yeah.
makes it so much more enjoyable to get through it together. And not to say that there's not validity in people going the lone wolf route. For some people, that works. For me, I'd always want to build with the boys. It's just more fun, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You know, I've never understood the whole lone wolf thing. If you look historically, we've never operated well single-handedly. Like, how are you going to beat a team of 10 people that are all well equipped with their skills, and you're one person? It just doesn't even make sense. If you want to be a freelancer, fine, but at the same time, that's also pretty boring. For me, I think that the agency space is incredible, but people will come to notice, you know, online business as a whole, and you'll see glitz and glamour. Like, I've posted videos of me buying a supercar and buying my dream apartment and buying stupid shit, watches, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, they don't realize the amount of work that's associated to get to even just my level. And mind you, there's levels above my level, is insane. Like, to get to 50,000 a week in sales, the amount of work that you need to put in is absolutely absurd, and it's obscene. And what people don't realize is it's actually quite lonely at certain points. Even if you do have a brother or a business partner, you're going to lose friends. Your family's probably not going to understand you. This is all shit that I still go through to this day, because people think I run a business that's like a front. You know, when I tell them, oh, I'm in the wedding industry and I do X, Y, and Z, they're like, you do what? Because it just, you know, it sounds like fake in a way, that's okay, fine. I mean, the results speak for themselves, and our clients.
You're trying to make an episode of The Sopranos or something.
Exactly. Yeah, because of Jersey, you know, that's what it is. They think they might think that, but yeah, no, 100%. I think the accountability factor is great, but outside of that, like I was saying, you know, the loneliness part, I literally just built a group of agency owners so we can all connect. People that are starting an agency or already running an agency, people that want to make money online. I'm building this network of people inside of my own group so that we can kind of break that wall down and dissolve it. Because there's a lot of people that do feel that level of loneliness. Like, bro, this whole working remote thing seems really sexy online. And then you're sitting in your room and you don't have the money for an office yet. You don't have the money for staff yet to work with you. You're going to be sitting there for the next probably year working by yourself in your room. So without having a network and people to keep you going, it's fucking hard, man. It's hard. It's hard.
Dude, and I remember kind of going back to how we started the podcast, you know, and how we connected. I mean, one of the big things when I started my first company was kind of a media company, whatever the hell that means. I was just getting random gigs from meeting people on my podcast, and I was just getting random checks. I'm not good at fulfillment, so I would just know, yo, this guy needs this. I'll connect the dots, boom, and I'll eat the profit in the middle, right?
Sure.
I was just kind of getting random deals. I was a glorified freelancer. I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't really enjoy it. I was just literally like, I want to quit my job and I know I want to be in business.
Yeah.
So, hey, let me take these little gigs, whatever.
Sure.
And I learned right there how much I did not know. I was like, oh man, I actually went to business school. And I didn't learn anything about business. Bro, you dropping out of high school, I have so much respect for it, because anything beyond that anyways is kind of bullshit, especially in the space that we're in today. You actually are getting so much further ahead by skipping the whole going to college MBA route. Now, will that rub parents or you know, certain elders the wrong way? Sure, because they only know one way of success, right? But to be making over 200K a month at age 20, I think you might have something figured out.
Well, let's think about this. Let's fully analyze this quickly. So what is college, right? Everyone's daughter gets piped down for quickly. Outside of that, what also occurs is you'll get fucking basically bad habits. Everyone that becomes an alcoholic or gets addicted to pot, typically it happens in college, right? I mean, maybe later on in high school, but it's a big fuck fest of degeneracy. That's what I've always looked at college as completely, unless you're going community. Like my brother went to community college for a short period of time just because my parents also weren't going to pull the money out to start paying for us to go to college. And I damn sure wasn't going to go into debt for it. Absolutely not. I wasn't going to go into debt so I could sit in someone's basement. Oh, you feel like it just doesn't make sense. Like it's dumb as hell. Like I've never understood it. I could have fun outside of that by going to some of the nicest restaurants and I have a great time there. Like I don't need that bullshit. So for me, it didn't make sense. And I know people that are studying business and I'll ask them like, hey, do you know how to read a profit and loss? You know, do you know how to create a P&L? Do you know how to read a balance sheet? Do you know how to create a balance sheet? Do you know what net operating income is? Do you know what EBITDA is? Like you just ask them the most basic business terminology that they should know. And they're like they don't know shit. So at the end of the day, what are you there for? And I was also thinking the other day too, bro, like my education really stopped in middle school. I didn't learn anything in high school. What I learned, Darwin's theory of fucking evolution. Well, what are you learning? You know, you're going there, you're sitting there every day. You're getting used to sitting in one spot. The 45 minutes is up, get up, go sit in another room. The 45 minutes is up, go get up, sit in another room. It's like, bro, what am I, a mouse? Like I'm not doing this. Like, yeah, basically, effectively, yeah. But you don't learn anything that has real value. And what I mean, it's the most common thing. People say it all the time, but if your business professor was so fucking good at business, he probably wouldn't be standing there giving you a seminar on how to run a business when he doesn't have one. He doesn't have one. That's why he's collecting 60 grand a year, 80 grand a year from the school, because he's not actually making money. But if he was, he'd be busy running his business. So that's kind of how I've always thought about that. Why am I going to go learn from people that don't have what I want? Why am I going to learn from people that are not even qualified to teach, in my opinion? You know? So it just, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense.
Couldn't agree more, bro. I think it's a scam for most people. Now, I will say, if you are going into more STEM field, if you do want to be a doctor, if you do want to be something that, you know, actually requires a higher education, go for it, right? But if you're trying to make some fucking money and build some real life skills, it's not going to happen in college.
No.
You know, I respect anyone's path, but, you know, I think one thing for any, you know, young person listening who's kind of debating, I mean, if you know you have that conviction that you'd rather go all in on building yourself up and building a business, go for it. And kind of that leads me to my next point here, Luke, is, you know, I did go to business school and I didn't learn shit about business. I went and I got a job just like everyone else. And I worked that job and I felt miserable. I wanted to put a bullet in my brain. I hated it. I felt like a little rat in this hamster wheel, in this cog, in this machine. I'm very grateful how much I hated that job because it forced me to think bigger. I started the show. I got dope people on the show and I started that little company. But from there, I knew how much I didn't know. And I invested all of my profits. So I was making a lot more money than my actual income. From my job. My first deal ever in business was a $12K a month contract. Damn. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with all this this money. But I knew that this is not a business. I knew that this is just a gig, and I'm hella lucky right now. This kind of just fell in my lap, kind of some arbitrage. And I took all of that money and I reinvested it back into courses, mentorship, learning. And one of the first ones that I invested in was actually Imam Gaji's course. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I know there's a lot of negative press around this dude out there on the internet. But to me, personally, I benefited tremendously from his teachings. Now, I think a lot of that comes from people, quite frankly, being jealous. I think a lot of it comes from people not being happy with where they are in life. And they're kind of like, oh shit, that should have been me. I think a lot of it's a reflection on their own shit that they need to work out. But what I will say, I don't actually think the value is in his courses and in like what you learn. I think the value, I got all my value from like an 8 to 10K, whatever course I dropped the money on at the time. I got all my value from module 1, talking about mindset, talking about filling out that SBA worksheet. I don't know if you're familiar with that. There was like a see, believe, achieve, like vision board type, whatever shit. I needed that at the time. Right? He had this one video where he just talked about even if you don't have the money yet, go to fancy places, go to the coffee shop, the hotel, you know, just absorb money. That's all I needed from his course. I didn't take a single other module because I thought, me personally, I thought they were bullshit. I was like, I already know this stuff.
Right.
We're good.
Sure.
But that little click has made me millions of dollars. Yeah. So like to me, I thought that that's incredible. And now he's gone a lot further with it. I absolutely love everything that he does. And I look up to how this guy does a personal brand, builds multiple businesses and brands and markets them different on each platform. And he's made a lot of his money selling info. I don't see really a problem with that.
Colleges make money selling info. Colleges make money selling info from people that are not qualified to sell info. I spent $18,000 with Iman personally. I bought his program called 8-Figure License. I got value. I'm not mad about the investment. I'm not mad about it. And at the end of the day, like the people, like you said, all the people that hate Iman, okay, great. Line me up 10 people that hate on guys like that, or even on guys like you or me or anyone else. Show me their businesses. Show me them. They're the same people that sit there and they will literally sit there with their fucking dick in their hand playing video games saying it's a scam. You haven't even tried. You don't even have the money to get scammed. So how can you call it a scam? Right, it's a Reddit post, bro. You're right. It's like you don't even have enough money to get scammed. He has to sell to people that at least have $1,000. So you don't have the money to get scammed. You're the anti-scam. So I in my group, it's called the Modern Scam for that reason. That is literally the name of our paid group because at the end of the day, the people that sit there, oh, it's a scam. Bro, figure it out once you enter. And at the end of the day, even if you do get scammed, you'll learn something from getting scammed. I know that sounds crazy, but it's completely true. If you invest your money into an area, it's like buying the wrong stock. If you buy the wrong stock, you learn and you adjust and you. And
I got a story about that, bro. When I moved to Miami, this was 3 years ago. Things were going well with the agency and whatnot, and I came here for a conference, and there was this guy named Ravi Abubala.
I know him. Scaling with Systems, yeah.
So I come to this event, this conference, and I felt like, dude, this guy's got it down. Like, he's got these systems dialed. I need the systems, bro. And I want to go to that next level, And so I dropped 50K on the mastermind.
Damn, 50K.
I go to all these events and stuff, and ultimately I have no ill will towards Ravi and anything he's doing. I think he's got an incredible product. You learned this as an agency owner, and I know you can relate to this. Everything is your fault. It was my fault. I didn't make the time to actually take advantage of the coaching and the learning in that program. And so I kind of burned that 50K, not really leveraging the relationships that I had in the program. Now, some of those people I work with and absolutely, like, they're some of my brothers to this day. So I don't view it as a loss, but try to explain that to my accountant. It's like, no, trust me, bro. Like, I know I burned it, but like, I won't do that again. So technically, hear me out. I saved a lot of money. So like, that type of thing, you spiritually got to be 100%. Ready to lose money to be able to attract it, back to you tenfold.
And I'm sure you're confident in your ability to earn. And that's why 18K for me was like, quite honestly, was a drop in the bucket. I also just recently bought one of our top sales guys a new Rolex because I want to show the rest of the team, like, listen, this is what's going to be possible if you're willing to put your head down and work. But if you're not the one investing your money into your own education, into your team, into yourself, back into the universe, it's never going to happen. And it's funny. I'll tell this story quickly. So there's a guy that I used to go to school with. He is our top sales guy right now. He makes 6 figures a year. He's successful inside of our agency. And long story short, a couple of years ago, he went through a situation where he got cancer and he was extremely sick. This is at the time that I was working as a server in a breakfast restaurant. I had saved my first $1,500 or $2,000, whatever it was. And I saw that a GoFundMe started for him. And before I even knew him, I sent him $1,000 because in my mind, even as someone that was broke working at a breakfast restaurant, I just knew if God is watching, this is the right thing to do. And I personally believe in karma, and I know that there's reciprocals in the universe. One thing you'll learn about me is I'm not here to fuck anybody over or lie to anybody. It's just not something that I'm willing to do. And that's ethics and morale that we have in our company. We don't fuck anyone over. We don't talk bad about our brothers, and that's it. Like, we work hard together. We're a team, and we don't screw anyone over. So I gave him that $1,000, and at the time I was broke. But I knew something was going to come of it, and I didn't know what. Didn't even know him, okay? His name is Mike. Now, long story short, Mike wound up working as an electrician, got better, beat the cancer, whatever. And I put out a story post, and I said, yo, I'm looking for salespeople for a new startup company that I'm starting. This is when I pivoted from content to digital agency when I switched over to Priori Hospitality, our wedding marketing agency. Long story short, he slid up. We became extremely close friends. It's been history ever since. He's a six-figure earner in our business, and he's reflected over $500,000 worth of sales that he has directly driven into our company off of his outbound sales and off of the work that he's done inbound. So I think about that sometimes, and I never hesitate to tip extra at a restaurant, to give the money to the homeless person, to invest into my team, because I know that I have personally experienced in my own life that when I invest into people, even in blind faith, the return on investment there is tremendous. It's fucking tremendous. So it's an interesting story, and it's something that I think about that to this day, and I always use that to kind of center myself. Whenever I feel like, oh, do I need to spend that money? Do I need to do this? I always think it all comes full circle, Luke. You've never been without money, especially recently. I do well for myself. It's never been a problem, and if you have the money to invest, go out and do it. So that's part of my goal. I want to do good things with my money as well.
Bro, I'm fucking proud of you. That's such a wise mindset to be able to not clutch onto money so hard and so tight. Don't you find the people that do, the ones
they have
that,
no money. They have no money.
They have none because they're just pinching every little penny, and it's like there's no belief in abundance and that they're gonna make it back. And you investing that $1,000 when you didn't have money, I think that's a very, very important part of that story. You were, as you say, broke. You had no money, and you just gave this guy $1,000, and he ends up becoming one of the top closers at your company, and a really good friend, which priceless. You can't put a value on that.
Yep.
That is God. That is the universe.
Yeah.
That is a spiritual karmic gain of
100%, bro.
God showing you, yo, brother, nice. Keep doing that. Don't forget that. And I love how you keep that as your anchor, bro.
And bro,
that's incredible.
The way I've always looked at it too is money is energy, and it is just simply an exchange of value. If you take it to thousands of years ago when we would exchange grain for cattle or cattle for something else, at the end of the day, the more value you provide and the more value you create, obviously the more money you're going to make. That's why the more clients you have in your agency, the more money you're going to make. So the way that I thought about it is, if I'm creating value and helping this person literally improve their quality of life, I know at some point I'm going to see this money back, or I know at some point I'm going to get lucky like that. And I know that that's crazy, probably to someone that's hearing this, that's broke right now, but it's just so funny because I try to dissolve this gap between me and someone that might be watching this, because the thing that allowed me to actually say, you know what, I'm going to set goals and start achieving them was I stopped pedestalizing people. I stopped doing that. I stopped thinking oh my God, Iman has this and he's just the best and he's just the GOAT of this space and he knows everything I don't know. It's no, I don't think like that. These guys don't. Yeah, exactly. We're exactly. 100%. We're at eye level. I might need to pay you to figure out a little bit of what you know, or I might need to send you some money to figure a couple things out. But I'm cool with doing that because I know that, again, you and I are eye level, and I'm never going to put that person on a pedestal as if I can't have what they have if it's something that I do so desire. Because I think about this too. It's once you're doing well for yourself, we net over $100,000 a month through our agency because we run pretty good margins. Once you're making over $1 million a year, in my opinion, bro, everything else that you're going to buy are the super luxuries. I could already afford supercars and live where I want to live and move where I want to move. I could already do
marginal utility to anything else above that.
Exactly. And that's exactly kind of what I'm going through right now. So for me now, I'm actually ready to go harder than I ever have, because now I understand that it's no longer about playing the game to survive and just make enough income to live. Now I have plenty of income to live. I have a great team. I have good people around me. Now it's a matter of take this game and take it to the next level, impact millions of people, do this at all the highest levels. And that's really what I'm here to do now, because it goes far beyond money. I know I'll make millions. I know I'll be okay. I'll always be able to afford what I need now, and I'm very blessed for it. But now it's about hitting the next level, bro. I don't want to just stagnate and be where I'm at. I think that that's bullshit. And I think that true success is becoming the person. Like, it's not a number. Like, I know I'll have 100 million. Because when I had 0, I told myself I'm going to have 1 million. And I got the 1 million and I was like, holy shit. Like, I actually said I was going to do this, and then I did it. And I documented everything. I have it all recorded. So when I say I try to dissolve the gap, is like, I don't want anyone thinking just because their parents have told them, oh, be careful who you listen to online. Oh, be careful this, be careful. Like, I don't want you to think because of one person that doesn't have big goals and has never achieved anything in their life that you can't do something with yours because that person is influencing you and they don't even have what you want. So beware of who's teaching you, beware of who you actually listen to. And that's one thing now that I've had to do, is I literally only listen to people that are qualified on topics that I actually want to learn from. So if someone that's divorced is giving me like marriage advice, I'm like, bro, get the fuck away from me. Like, I don't want to, no offense, I don't want to hear it from you. Cause like, you did something wrong. Like, you did something that you shouldn't have done, or vice versa. Like, I don't want your advice. I want the advice from someone that's doing it successfully at all the highest levels. And for me, I think about that in business too. And that's why I pay money to meet different people, and I invest into my relationships and my education in that way, because it comes full circle, bro. It always does. Always does.
It always does, bro. And look, I appreciate that frame of closing the gap. I think when I first started getting into this business world and stuff, I had this like deep insecurity and this imposter syndrome of, like, how could I ever achieve that? Like, this person's smarter than me, maybe they're better than me, whatever. And through the conversations on the podcast, I kind of got my confidence a little bit of like, maybe it's my ego talking, but I was just a little bit like, yeah, this guy's not smarter than me, and he's running up M's, like, and just seeing enough data of, and being like, yeah, I think I could do this, to then actually 100%. Doing it at a high level, to falling, to getting up, and everything in between. You kind of get some battle scars, and you start to realize that, oh, okay, there are levels to this game.
Yep.
But we often overcomplicate it a lot more than it really is. When you really zoom out and see the forest from the trees, you're like, okay, what is the real actual issue here? Well, I want to get to here. I am currently here. This is the gap that I'm trying to close.
Yeah.
This feels like an insane mountain for me to climb,
yep.
But I don't even know how to take the first step. That's why, and I don't want this to just sound like an ad for Iman, I've taken so many different courses, bro, where I needed to close that gap. I needed to feel confident in selling one thing, or fulfilling on one thing, or a system for another thing, whatever it is. I felt like I needed to close that gap somehow.
Yeah, bro.
And through mentorship, through courses, the biggest value I've actually gotten, bro, has been meeting other people. And I think you could relate with this because you started off in the podcast game, then you got really good at sales, and now you lead a team, and you're trying to take that and now scale that with other agency owners and your own personal brand.
Yeah.
I could tell you're like me. You care about the people. You care about the person, the human being.
Correct.
Behind anything. To me, the money that we pay, this random dollar sign in a bank account, is for access.
Yeah.
It's just so I can cheat code. And like you told me, you just had a call with Iman. I remember when I had a call with Iman. That call was so valuable to me back in I think 2020. That call was so valuable to me. It completely changed the direction of my business forever. And all the people I met in those groups and everything, some of them are like brothers of mine to this day. Bro.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's the experience bank, and that's a bank that no one talks about, like actually filling up. Like, I thought about it like this, like, okay, I can pay for this program, or I can invest into a content team and like guys that I really want to work with, and I can invest into all these things, or I could net a little bit more money through my business and I could not have a personal brand. And it's just like, wait a sec, like that's so dumb. Like when you put it into hindsight, it's like that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would I do it that way when I could do it the right way? So for me, that's always been my mentality, like attention to detail, working hard, doing things right, just not trying to be cheap, like doing things as best as you actually possibly can and making sure that you're investing into your relationships is one of the most important things, bro, 100%. And investing into your education. I've never really lost money investing into my education, but I've lost money in different crypto projects. I've lost money angel investing and seed investing. I've lost money doing all those things, but I have not lost any money investing into my education because I take that and I make it applicable straight away. So be it mindset, be it something specific for my business, it doesn't matter. I've never lost money investing into my education. It's never happened. So
Look, I could talk about this stuff all day. As you could tell, I get really excited about it because I'm living it. You know, it's amazing stuff. But I do want to switch gears a little bit and kind of dive into, your actual agency a little bit. You decided to go into the wedding and hospitality space. What made that niche specifically stand out to you?
that's a long story, bro. I don't know if I could. I'll try to summarize this as best as I can. So, long story short, I was working with a guy that owned a big company in the real estate business, and I was actually doing his content. And he had purchased an event venue, and he said, "I love what you're doing over there for my real estate business. Can you also help me with this event venue to try to generate more bookings?" And we built this system out that we have right now, and obviously we've developed it. But that was the first actual venue that we've worked with. From there, we got a referral. We realized the results were incredibly profound. We were getting them really good results. And we were like, our clients are retaining us. We're charging them a high ticket. I think we could go out and instead of just working with two of these businesses and then trying to go work with other types of companies, let's just niche down and let's just do this because we can productize what we do. Okay. And basically what I mean by that for the viewers is if you can take something and let's say you get really good results running Facebook ads, hypothetically, for a roofer. If your next client is a pest control company, you're building a new business that second time around because that process has a different system for onboarding and servicing, and it's a different business. But if you can figure out and be the expert of one niche and really go into depth in that thing, you can crush it. And quite honestly, in this niche that I'm in, there's a lot of extremely high net worth people and a lot of guys that own multiple properties and hospitality groups that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And you wouldn't even know who these guys are because they're friggin' mobbed up venue owners. You wouldn't even know who they were. So it's just like, it's interesting when you realize how many people have a shit ton of money and you'll never see them on the internet. And I think that's where a lot of like, not to go off topic, but a lot of these parents that are like old school are like, oh, if that guy really had money, he wouldn't be on the internet showing money. And that's not totally true. It's a different world that we live in now. And now I think that you're invisible without a brand and without people knowing who you are. But that's kind of how I got into venues. It was through a referral. We got good results. We decided to niche down and stick with it. And when we realized, hey, it's good, it's high ticket, it's a quality niche to be in, we just ran with it. But yeah, that's where we're at. I guess we found a money glitch, right? Everyone's looking for a money glitch, and that's the one that we found.
I'd love that for you guys, man. Look, I want to be like completely transparent and honest about something that I'm going through as an agency owner. I fell into the trap the past 5 years running this thing of trying to serve everybody. And in that, I did develop a lot of incredible relationships across a lot of different industries, from private jets to super yachts,
Crazy.
Doctors, lawyers, tech CEOs, founders, everything
Sure.
in between. We've gotten to meet a lot of cool people. But what you said right there resonates with me so hard. Of you're building a different business every single time, and it's not something that's repeatable and productized. And I knew this because every course, everything, every mentor, every person I've ever talked to was like, dude, what's your niche? And I could never answer that freaking question.
Yeah.
And maybe it was my ego, maybe it was, young, dumb, stupid me. But up until very recently, we were still trying to serve everybody. And we couldn't say no to money in.
It's exactly. And it's because you almost think you're leaving money on the table. And what I've learned about that, not to interrupt you, bro, but that's actually a lack of efficient marketing for your own agency. That's all it really is. You don't have enough of your ideal customer profile coming to you for you to be able to be confident enough to niche down. Because when that referral that runs a bowling alley is like, hey, can you manage my website and do my SEO? You're sitting
You have to take it.
You're sitting there
you're
like,
I need the check.
you're like, oh, $1,000 a month? Shit, we're fucking doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you go for the fast money, and then what you learn is that high-level thinkers never worry about fast money. And it's typically because they don't need it. That's why people that grow up in rich families are advantaged. Me personally, I didn't. I grew up with a dad that was a police officer, and my mom does some basic like skincare work and things of that nature. But the reason that I had that level of leverage is because when I picked the wedding niche to stick to, I had money saved from my content agency. So I'd made like 50 grand doing content for local businesses, and I invested every dime into my agency. I hired a guy overseas. I got Go High Level set up. I set the whole thing up properly from the start. And I'll be honest, I did have cash to fund the second agency I started running, which is the one I have now. But at the same time, you technically could start with nothing. But bro, not having a niche, it'll kill your business, bro. Your sales calls look different every time. Your everything. You're building literally multiple businesses, and it's the best thing you could do. You got to niche down. Have to.
And again, bro, I'm 100% retweet everything you're saying, bro. Like I had to learn this lesson, unfortunately, the hard way.
Yeah, me too.
And now in the past 6 months or so, we've been kind of strict on only working with a particular niche.
Good.
For us, it's health and wellness. That's just really worked for us. We have the best case studies, and then we have the longest lasting clients. We enjoy working with them the most, and typically they have the money to be able to afford what we offer. But in that, we had to transition, bro, and we are actually still in that transition period. And in the spirit of my audience, your audience, anyone who listens to this, we're in a bit of a rough spot with the agency as we're letting go of a lot of the legacy clients and the grandfathered and the people I love, the people I've been serving for a very long time, and completely focusing the marketing back on our agency, building out the entire funnels for ourselves for once, and only being hyper focused on one niche. And that transition that I know needs to happen, it's a painful one, dude.
Well, bro,
but I'm long term enough to know that this is the move for the agency. But I always want to be transparent with people and share that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You're not always gonna have the crazy 100K plus months and whatever consistently all the time. Sometimes you need it. It's like a slingshot. You got to go back to go super forward, and that's where I'm at right now.
You know what's funny? I love when people, specifically, we'll just say people that are like in the agency space are like, oh, like, or a client for your agency is like, oh, Facebook ads, haven't worked for me, but they met you because they submitted your form on a Facebook ad, and then you just ask them, oh, well, how did we meet? And then it's like, so it's the idea, like, listen, like, I'm a good marketer, clearly, because we're having this conversation today. And at the end of the day, like, we wouldn't be on the phone right now if Facebook ads didn't work. So the frame is like, if you're doing proper marketing for your own business, it gives you a leg up in showing, hey, listen, I'm doing SEO on my own site. Okay. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't do it. I'm running ads myself. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't do it. I have an outbound sales team making cold calls every single day. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't do it. If it didn't work, I wouldn't do it. So these are the things that give you leverage on a sales call. And if they really believe what you're saying, they're going to end up buying into your services. And that's what we've seen, because first off, I care about my people. I want to take care of my clients. And second off, it actually works. I feel like I'm screwing them over if I don't work with them. But back to what you were saying, bro, it's funny in the agency space right now, more and more people are leaving the space. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I cannot stand how many more people need to sit in front of a camera and say, you need to become a coach. You need to become a coach. You need to become. It's like, bro, what are you going to coach people on? You're fat. You're fucking, you don't know what you're doing. What are you going to coach someone on? Well, you're going to be the next fitness coach. It's like, bro, and then it's like the cesspool of the coach of the coaches and the coach of the coaches of the coaches. And it's like, bro, you're teaching people the best way to make money online is coaching, but your customer avatar is 15 to 19 years old. They have no money. They also know nothing. Okay. And the best business they could start as a beginner, which, by the way, don't just take it from me. You could take it from a multi 9-figure entrepreneur like Alex Hormozy. He just made a video about it. Start an online service-based business because it has the lowest barrier to entry and it's going to teach you actual business principle. So the best business to start as a beginner is still an agency. So for me, it would be hypocritical to tell you, I'm not saying you specifically, but it would be hypocritical for me to go tell one of the viewers that's watching this that's just getting started or is maybe at 6K a month, 8K a month and say, no, don't do that anymore. Go coach because it's more scalable. It's like, bro,
or it's too saturated right now. Everyone in the mom has
out of
it.
here,
It's
bro.
like, come
It's
on,
like,
man.
it's like I dare you to get into the wedding industry and try to compete with our team. Like, good luck. Like, good luck. Like, you're competing with the best of the best. So good luck. But outside of that, this whole not scalable idea, it's like, bro, you realize this morning you went to go buy your bananas from a supermarket. Are supermarkets scalable? Like, this whole not scalable idea is a myth. Or, oh, don't make cold calls for your agency. Only run ads because cold calls are not scalable. That's completely bullshit, bro. And I had a bunch of people when I first started my agency, like, oh, for acquisition, the best way to get clients is ads and you need to run ads. I scaled to 130K a month just by building out an outbound sales team. That's it. 130K a month just from cold calling, nothing else. So the way that I've always looked at it is it's like, bro, first off, beware of what you hear online because a lot of it's bullshit. That's the modern scam in itself. And then second off, outside of just beware of what you hear and make sure that you vet the people that you listen to, make sure, okay, it's the right model for you. Because as much as I can say agency's the best, agency's the best, agency's the best, it works for me, but it might not work for the next person because they might want to just do the sales piece. If someone sits down and is like, I don't want to do fulfillment, I don't want to build anything, and you don't have someone like my brother, well, maybe you should look into high ticket sales. And that makes sense. But this whole idea of just getting into coaching and just everyone wanting to become a coach because and they'll look at me and be like, oh, well, you're coaching. So it's hypocritical for you to tell people not to coach. And it's like, bro, I'm coaching because I already have a multi-million-dollar business. There's people that literally scale to like 5K a month. And they're like, I'm going to teach you how to build a 5K a month business online. And then when people like me or like you see these people online, we're like, who the fuck is this schmuck? Like, no one wants to talk to that guy. Like, you're not perceived as an expert and you're not playing the game at a high level. And for that reason, exactly, no one takes you seriously. So
Couldn't agree more with everything you just said, bro. And look, everyone's got their path on their journey, and like I try not to spend too much energy on what other people are doing, but I will say it does break my heart when I see a young gunner who has infinite potential feel inundated with too much noise out on the internet on what they should actually do. And I 100% believe with Hormozy on that and you as well, that the easiest thing to get into, low barrier of entry, and something contingent on this one thing though. You're actually good at the thing that you do or that you're selling. Like you actually think you can deliver that service, because that's the big missing piece here.
Or you're willing to learn how to get good, or you're willing to learn how to get good. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You're not going to be like, don't look at the 100K months when you aren't at 10 yet.
Exactly,
Like,
bro.
let's just try to get to 10. All right. And a lot of that, I'm not going to lie, is brute force. Like, it's picking up the phone. It's, teaching yourself email marketing. It is me. I wouldn't recommend this, but like, it could be running ads, whatever the route is. Pick one. Go with that till you ape it to 10K. Just get to 10K. Then your bases are covered. Then you can live. You can move out of your mom's basement. You have some space to breathe, and you can actually do something with your life. You might be able to afford a couple. You could have a VA. You could. Okay, now I'm not fulfilling or doing everything, right? You and your business partner on 10K, like, you can make that work. That's how we started in this. Me and my business partner, like. All we wanted to do is get to 10K a month so I could quit my job and I could go all in on sales. When I quit my job and went all in, dude, we made 60K our first 11 months of business. Like 60K total. And that was nothing. Like, we were barely, we both still had to keep our jobs. We had like 2 laptops up, but we were just hustling, trying to make it work, right?
Yeah.
Month 12, December of that year, that we started the business, I did like 70.
Wow.
In that month. Like, spiritually, again, go to God, universe, whatever you want to call it. rewarded me for going all in on that thing, and it's been, up and up, since. And so, going back to the whole coaching versus agency versus whatever, like if we're talking to people who are just trying to get into this stuff, you're just trying to, ultimately what we're all trying to buy is more freedom, right? That's it. And whatever your why is for wanting to make millions of dollars or hundreds of millions or billions, whatever it is for you, there is some deep rooted why of what that is. Maybe you didn't get enough attention from girls. Maybe you want to retire your mom. Maybe for me that was a big one for me getting into this. My parents also blue collar. My dad drives a bus, city bus. My mom is a nurse, and being able to support them has been a huge driving force for me. But also, I want to go on a date with a cute girl and not look at the bill, like it's already taken care of.
100%.
I don't really care about supercars and stuff like that. That's never been my lane. But do I like to be in a nice car and be comfortable? Do I want to fly somewhere and be a lot more comfortable than sitting on a Spirit flight in the middle seat? I'm too big for all that, bro. So there are certain things that drive me, and it's important to be honest with yourself about that. And what you were saying before of getting into the e-com space, you gotta buy all this inventory. You gotta take this massive risk on Alibaba and whatever and wait 8 weeks to have a bunch of product that probably won't move. You know a million stories of people who have a storage locker full of fidget spinners or whatever the fuck that they just didn't get in time for the wave,
Exactly.
right? I personally believe that if you're selling something that people will always need, whether it's email marketing, websites, content, ads, whatever, and you start local. You start with your network. You DM people that you have. I do love Hormozy's content in that it does help you get from that 0 to 1 a lot of the times.
Yep.
Of just read 100 million offers, just read 100 million leads. Do follow that, get to 10K, then reinvest that in learning to get to the 50K, to the 100K, and beyond.
Couldn't agree more, bro. Couldn't agree more. 100%. And you get to build something that has value over the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So you could keep developing a better service. Within e-commerce, you have to keep popping up new stores, or even if you have a store, once your product is fatigued, you have to create new products. And the agency space to me is just a lot more consistent. I mean, I could have gotten into e-commerce. I know guys that are in the game crushing it. I know guys that are in the supercar rental game that are crushing it, like Ethan Duran. Not sure if you know him, but he's got a pretty big personal brand too. But these are all avenues that I could have went down. But I picked agency because of my own personal situation. And I picked agency because of the skill sets that I had already had. And I thought, if I could play this game with a slightly unfair advantage compared to everybody else, I'm going to do it. Here we are.
For Del Priori Hospitality, what is your guys' offer? Let's say I run a catering company or hospitality venue or something. I come to you. What are you doing for me?
So the offer is that we have no guarantee in our business, unlike most agencies. I think that those things have gotten way overinflated. They're completely unfocused on relationships. So unlike whatever, I'll get you 15 appointments, and if I don't, you don't pay, and I'll send you $2,000. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's bullshit. Like, you really and everything's all contingent of some bullshit. Like, for example, I'm just gonna call him out. I apologize, but like, for example, Charlie Morgan, right? Like, he'll run his ads, and he'll be like, I'll get you this many appointments, and if I don't, you don't pay. And then it's like, well, wait a second, hold on. You're selling a course, so you're not actually doing the fulfillment for someone. And unless they could prove that they made 200 cold calls a day for the whole 6 months of the program, they're not eligible for the guarantee. So there really is no guarantee. You're lying to people with a stipulation, and then you act like Mr. Nice Guy. You're not. Yeah. So I fucking hate people like that. I hate that completely. Outside of that, okay, what our offer is, hey, listen, we work month to month. So if you're not seeing results, and if you're not seeing the ethic and the work that we're putting into everything that we're doing, you are not obligated to keep paying us. But outside of that, we have a proven track record. So they go look at video testimonies of a bunch of venue owners that we speak to. I send them direct references that they can call after our introductory sales call. We show the system has proof of concept, and we have a million case studies that show that the system works, and we back it by the fact that if they're not happy after the first month for any reason at all, we send them the service feedback. Okay. So that's our offer, but there is no guarantee because when you started your business, brother, was there a guarantee?
No.
There's not a guarantee for anybody. There's no telling if you and me
And
are
I
you.
don't do guarantees either. I don't believe in
There's no telling if we're going to wake up tomorrow. So for me to give someone a guarantee is bullshit. And I've always hated it. And I think that Hormozy's a cool dude, but his message has gotten out to a lot of absolute dead broke beginners in business. And when they start their agency, they think, oh yeah, what that rich business owner wants to hear is I'll get him 15 appointments or he doesn't pay. He's going to hear that and be like, oh, you sound like the same 15-year-old I spoke to last week.
And it gives off desperation. What I've noticed is like business and all of these offers and everything, it's a spiritual exchange. At the end of the day, if I could communicate to you, like I've never used a sales script. I'm literally just getting on a call from the frame of, and I do remind myself this before I get on the call. Like, you have to remind yourself, how can I help this person?
Bingo.
Like genuinely, like my goal here is not to extract money from you. If we're not even a good fit, if I don't think we can help you, sure, there's a million people out there who probably could. I might even connect you to them, but I just want to know if I can help you. How can I actually provide some value to you? And it's just a conversation. It's just like this. And maybe that just came from the podcasting. Maybe that's just my vibe, whatever it is. I've been selling off vibes this entire time because to me, that leads to actual brokering trust, which is actually what sales is at the end of the day. If you don't trust me and I got to do all these fucking guarantees and crazy things just to get you to give me money,
No.
it's probably not going to work out anyway.
No.
And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I haven't done that before. There was a point in my business where I followed that advice and I offered a guarantee. What we used to do was we get you 10K followers. We used to like sell more content instead of results. But it used to be, I'll get you 10K followers in 3 months or we work for free, right? And we would consistently hit that 95, 98% of the time. But that 2% of the time, we're like, yo, dude, like we've done everything and this person's not going to blow up. Like they just don't have it. They don't have the juice. Like there's nothing we can do to blow them up. And having like a bad taste in my mouth with those few people who call me on that. And I'm like, dude, now they're in a weird spot. I'm in a weird spot. Like we've now been fulfilling for like 8 months for something that was supposed to be 3. And it's just like bad energy both ways. I'm never offering a fucking guarantee again. Even though I know I'm very confident in our services, I actually need you to be confident in our services.
Exactly. Exactly, bro. You're right. And it also creates awkwardness on the sales call because it creates a level of exactly what people's parents feel about their kids starting online businesses. It starts this sensation of it's too good to be true. That's literally what it kicks off. It's like, well, if he's guaranteeing 5 bookings in a month, then why doesn't everyone sign up for his service? Obviously, some people haven't signed up or they just... So it creates a level of literally lack of trust by trying to overbuild trust. It's like the teacher's pet. It's like, no one likes that motherfucker. Like, no one likes that person because you're a kiss ass. And that's basically, to me, what a guarantee has always been. It shows very low status, very low confidence. But if I'm like, hey, listen, I work month to month, so I just need to get my foot in the door for a month. And by the way, if after the first month, for any reason, you could book 1 million events. If you're unhappy after the first month, I'll just send you the service feedback because if you don't want to work with us, that means that we didn't deliver on value. That is a guarantee. That's not contingent of a certain stipulation on their side. We're fulfilling the service, and we're also saying, if you don't feel like you're getting results off this, you're not obligated to stay. That's how confident we are in what we do. So to me, that builds trust, but it's not in a shisty way. So that's how we do it.
What do the deliverables usually look like on your guys' end?
So without going too into depth about the actual service, only because, that's stuff that I try to keep confidential for some of the clients, I'll just say most of the services we provide are paid advertising through Facebook and Instagram, search engine optimization, as well as a CRM integration. And those are the primary services that we integrate for all the caterers.
Do you guys build funnels out for people and make all those things talk to each other?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we do. So it's basically a big funnel that works for venues, and that's what we've been repeating for all the properties that we work with.
Got it. I love it. And you guys said you have how many clients?
Over 150 currently.
Over 150. So you don't get to that without some ironclad systems. Talk to me about the system side of the business, because I'm personally curious about this, because I'm very good at sales and business development. My business partner is very good at like actual fulfillment and blowing people off. He's a creative behind everything we do.
Yeah.
But the one thing we both are not good at is systems operations.
That's why you need Ravi, bro. That's it. That's how it's done. Nah, honestly, as far as the systems go, I mean, they kind of figure themselves out as they go. I think that people get like hyper obsessed about systems a little bit too much. It gets a little too crazy. But when it comes down to systems, it's like for me, I basically had no systems up to 130K a month. I was doing every sales call. I was following up with leads like a madman. Even if I had some free time in a day, I would start trying to cold call different businesses across the world. Like I wasn't super worried about systems. I was just worried about, all right, my brother's got fulfillment. I just need to focus on this one thing. Whereas now in my calendar, like I could show you my calendar for today. For today, like the whole sales process for me is automated. So the only thing I technically had to do today, if I really wanted, was this podcast. My calendar's free. But that gives me breathing time to say, hey, my inbound sales team is doing their thing. My outbound sales team is doing their thing, booking 15 appointments a day. My closers are closing. They're closing how I train them to close. I have systems in the sense of I didn't learn them from somebody else. I built them myself. So
From actually doing it yourself so much.
yes, because when I'm training someone on how to close, for our company, I'm not someone that hasn't done it. I'm like, hey, listen, and this is basically how we did it. This is literally how our business started. Me and two guys in my parents' basement. That was it. And basically from there, they were making cold calls. I was making cold calls with them. We were all scheduling to my calendar because at the time I was the only closer, and I would close deals. I worked out a deal with these two guys, Mike and Sal. Mike is one of them from the story before. I said, yo, I'll pay you a commission on anything that closes. Have some faith in me, and I'm going to make you make six figures. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. But I was like, we're going to do it. Had to convince these guys to work with me because I had no money to pay them. So they started working with us, and that was it. They started setting appointments that I was closing, and I would give them a residual commission on every single deal. At a point that we'd scale to a pretty decent height, 130K a month, I was like, wait a sec. There's more guys that now want to work for us because they're seeing a little bit of success that we're having. I got to figure out how I could stop sitting on Zoom 8 hours a day because I think I could spend my time doing something that is, more leverage than this. So after work every day, every single night, we would do an inbound sales training, and I would start training these two guys. I'm like, we got to get better. We got to get better. Also, go help me find more appointment setters. We need more people that are going to believe in it like you. Now you have the proof of concept and the fact that you're both making money with me. Go get two more guys that can now book to your calendars, and I'll train them. So that's how I basically built the operation in itself, and it kind of has naturally scaled itself because I try not to step on their toes. The guys know what to do. I don't get involved with fulfillment at all. That's my brother's job in the back end team. But now what I do is I do all the hiring, right? So I'll hire everybody. Luckily, we don't need to make any hires at the moment, but I do all the hiring. So I'll get on Upwork and I'll vet people and I'll interview them. I'll sit them down. I'll have that conversation and I'll bring them into the company if I need to. I take care of some of the payroll. So we have a small billing department, but at the same time, if billing gets messed up, I want to be on it to see it. I make sure that all the accounts receivable are accurate. So I'll make sure that if we were supposed to collect 15,000 this day, 15,000 actually came onto our dashboard on Stripe. I'll make sure that, if one of the guys is having a personal issue and they can't show up to work, I'll make sure to have a conversation with them and be like, yo, if you need me, call me. I got your back. Don't worry. We'll get you subbed out for today. Take the day off. Like I have to basically manage communicating with everybody because I don't technically have like a C-suite team. Everyone that's in our company knows me and I know them and I know about their family and I know about them. So that's another thing too, I want to scale, but I'm still trying to figure out for myself how much I want to grow because I like to have that level of connection with my team where I know everybody, I know what's going on in their personal life and vice versa. And they want to work for me because of that. Because technically, they really feel like they're working with me. And that's what it is. We have this mission. I'm like, yo, that's the revenue we got to hit by December. If we could hit that revenue as a company, you're going to be entitled to this. And if you're entitled to that, how is 10 grand a month going to change your life? Oh my God, it would be huge. If I could be making 10 grand, I could take my girl here. I could do boom, boom, boom. And you're motivating people through the goal of the entire company. And then from there, that's how I've been able to say, all right, Now, I'm not going to step on your toes. Do your thing. I'm going to work on the personal brand. I'm going to work on other things. I got to make sure that everything's functioning well in the whole business and make sure it's turning. Do your thing. Make sure you're making these calls. Stay productive. So picking different software for the business, networking with new people like yourself. This is really my job now in the agency, is just figuring out like even conferences. There's a conference of like 500 venue owners that are going to be in Florida quite soon. I'll go there and make a speech because if I could land 15% of that audience into a paying customer, even less, it's going to be a massive, massive ROI for the whole business. So right now it's figuring out the best levers to pull that have actual leverage. And I can get away with doing this now. But for the beginners, don't watch and think that you're going to be in my position if you don't go through the grunt work, because I sat there in my friggin' parents' basement and I have all the documentation of it on my phone, grinding, hustling, calling, trying to get a connection. This is me in my social flock hat when I was running my content agency, just trying to get local businesses to pay us a dime, trying to film an ad. I don't even know what I was doing here. This is us in New York, filming content when I had our content agency. Like, I have the whole thing documented. This is me and Dario with the camera, filming for a Greek restaurant that we were working with, like manifesting everything that we've built. Like, I recorded the whole thing because I knew at some point I would be in this position and even higher. But at the same time, it's like I wouldn't have been here if I wasn't there. So that's kind of what my roles are now in the business, but they weren't always like this. But I like both games. I fucking love the grind, bro. I always say, like, if I was broke, put me right back in my parents' basement. Luckily, my parents love me. They wouldn't kick me out. I would have no problem rebuilding what we have because I love the grind. Don't bother me.
I love that so much, bro. First of all, salute to you documenting the whole thing. I think the only way you do that is if you have that extreme self-belief that you are going to get there. And that's one thing that I think no one could take away from Iman. Say what you want about the guy. There are some things I will say as well that like I don't respect about the guy. Especially, with respect to his crypto project or whatever, his NFT.
I didn't even know about that, to be honest with you. NFT.
No, we could talk about it offline. I don't want to bash Iman here. I love the guy. I respect a lot of what he's done, but hey, sometimes we miss.
It's like politicians, bro. Like, for example, like, if you were in for example, the last election, you could look at both candidates and be like, I don't love this guy, but, this is a prostitute basically. So it's hard to pick, what's like the best of both worlds and the good and evil and the balance there. So you just try to balance. It's a balancing act. You're not going to love everything, one person's doing. But
totally hear you. And so what I was saying there is like where I love that you've gotten now to a point where you can do the higher leverage things, where your calendar is not filled up and every moment of the day is just like, how can I generate more opportunity for my company? Like, that's how a lot of my role has been up until like last year, is just how can I hustle my way into where we need to get to? And don't be fooled. Like, you gotta do that. Like, you have to go through that. And I think a lot of kids and younger people or people just getting into this game, they think that they watch an Iman video today of him buying WAP and like having these insane cinematic movie level YouTube videos and all this crazy stuff. And they look at that and they're like, oh, like I want to like do that. If I just buy his course, I'll have that in like 6 months. No, this guy's been documenting it since he was 15. And go back and look at it.
And working like an animal consistently, more consistently than 99.9% of people even can. Most people can't even fucking read 3 pages of a book without dozing off. So it's like, you're not gonna have someone's lifestyle by purchasing a course. That does not exist. But if you're the type of person that is willing to actually work their ass off, and you're actually willing to put the amount of work in that those people are putting in, certain courses have a ton of knowledge. Like, I'll say, like, and this is shameless plug, but inside of our program, which is really just more coaching, we do weekly Zoom meetings. We have a support chat. We have a Q&A chat. We have the whole thing pre-recorded, 25 hours of content. I show what we use for invoicing, what we use for billing, how I hire, how my brother fulfills, literally the entire thing. I just peel back everything and I show what our systems look like in our agency. But what you'll notice is a lot of it is when I'm speaking to the person that's watching our program that's at less than 10K a month, I'm like, bro, stop watching this course. You have the piece of how to cold call. It's broken down in video modules. Go do that right now. And don't stop calling until you book 3 appointments. I don't care if it takes you 10 hours. Do not stop. Nothing else is going to bring cash into your business. You need people to know about you, what you do. And if you don't have money to do that, you damn sure have time. You know what I mean? Pick one. You're either broke or you have money, so you have to pick one. You can't be both. So that's how I've always looked at it. Is it's like, bro, in the very beginning when we first started our agency, I was just hustling, call. That's it. Like that's what you have to do. You can't look at someone who's at like, well, we could say, I don't want to be corny, GOAT status, whatever. I guess Iman's at GOAT status. Tate is at GOAT status. These guys they're well known and they make a lot of money. But you're not going to be at that level until you go through being a peasant, basically. Like, you're never going to get there. That's like trying to skip levels. And that's why when you spoke about systems before, I think that for most people that are watching this, systems, and like for you, they would have extreme value. For me, they would have extreme value. For most people, systems would have no value because it's like you don't need systems.
You're creating problems that don't exist yet.
Right. You need
we're not even at that stage of like you need a system. Dude, your system's pick up the fucking phone and figure it out.
Yeah, your system is fucking grow a pair of balls and start making phone calls. Like, what do you want me to tell you? That's what I did and it worked. So that's the system. The system is when you feel like slacking off and you feel like watching TV midday, you retrain your brain to say, no, I'm not doing that shit. I need to get cash into my bank account now. And you do it like your life depends on it. That's literally what you have to do. So that's the system.
Fast forward now, you guys are sitting at a decent level. You've got the team. You do have the systems. The machine's turning. What's next? What are you working on?
Take over with this personal brand, bro, and show people the journey and teach people that this is actually possible for them. And I'll say it now publicly, we can say, because I truly believe that this is going to happen. And I believe that I'll look back at this video in a period of time and be like, wow, how close did we actually get? We're going to completely take over the internet. That's the goal. We want to really take this to the next level. And I think that there's a lot of people that have created digital products and programs and courses and tried to teach people how to make money online via distracting them. So they'll give them 15 ways to make money, 10 ways to make money, this network. If you want to get rich, everyone that you watch online, and for the consumers watching this, please listen to me. The people that you watch online got rich doing one thing. If they're not teaching you how to do that one thing that actually got them rich, I'm not talking about how they compounded their money, the one business that got them rich, if that's not what they're teaching you how to do, disregard what they say. And that is all that I want to really leave people with, is it's like, I'm not teaching you how to do something that I don't actively do. That would be hypocritical as fuck. That's like going to a fat personal trainer. You're not going to take that person seriously. All due respect. You're going to take someone seriously that has the qualification. I'm trying to be the person that's qualified to teach people the most accurate information about the topic that they want to learn about. And if they genuinely want to make money online, I'm your person. That's the goal. That's the next phase of what we're doing.
I love it, brother. And I could feel it, man. Sitting here talking to you. Look, yesterday, at this time, I didn't know you. Right? Today, we connected. We're having this conversation. And having checked you out and hearing your philosophies, I could tell when someone's game, when someone's actually in the arena, actually doing the thing. I hope that people who listen to this will take your advice, right? And actually listen to this. How can people join your program and start working with you?
Yeah, so the best thing I would say is you can go to my YouTube channel, which is just Luke Del Priori. It's just my name. If you guys don't have any money, start there. Start watching that content. That's going to give you all the principles that you need to know. Once you learn your principles, if you want more specific knowledge, you type in Del Priori Brothers Business, and I have a very niche specific YouTube channel teaching you everything you need to know on how to run a marketing agency for free. Okay, so it's going to cost you nothing. Now, if you want to go a step further, go to themodernscam.com. So it's themodernscam.com and book a call with my team. We'll show you exactly how we're helping people escape what's basically fucking the modern scam. As we spoke of before, college, high school, it's bullshit. It's completely bullshit. So we're giving people a better business model and a system that they can follow step by step, and they're going to get there. If they put the work in and if they actually follow the principles to their core and they actually believe they can do it, they're going to get there, bro. We have people in there that are succeeding right now. They're at 6K a month, 10K a month, 15K a month. It's all documented. So I'm excited to just help more people. That's really the next phase and that's the next goal. So if you guys are interested, you can just go to themodernscam.com and just book a call. Book a call with our team. It's free.
I love it, brother. One last question here to wrap up this podcast. How do you, Luke, want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as someone that always tried to do the right thing, not just for myself, but for other people as well. I look at legacy as a thing, and some people are like, oh, legacy doesn't matter. To me, I believe it matters because at the end of the day, all you really remember people for is their habits, quite frankly, and how they made you feel. You remember them for their habits and how they made you feel. And I always want to be the person that gets looked at as he created opportunity for a bunch of people and he wasn't just a selfish fuck and made all this money for himself. He actually gave back and built things for other people. And that's really my goal. I want to be remembered as someone that always tried to do the right thing. I won't always do the right thing, but I'll always use my best judgment. So that's the goal.
I love it, brother. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, bro.
The beginning of an incredible relationship, and that's what this is all about for me. Just remember, everyone listening, it's not that deep. We'll link everything that we spoke about today in the show notes. And yeah, man, I appreciate you. Be well.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.